Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Maddie's Fun's Community Conversations. We are so glad you're here today, and we're so happy to be back from our fall break. We hope you had a nice time away. But now we are back. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sheila Kukan, and I'm really excited to welcome Amber Eby as my co-host for November. Amber is the Senior Grant Specialist for Maddie's Fund, so my colleague here. And what's perfect is Amber also used to work at San Francisco SPCA. In her current role here at Maddie's Fund, Amber is our senior grant specialist, and she works with organizations applying for grants and also helps to spread awareness about Maddie and Maddie's Fund. Prior to joining us here at Maddie's Fund, she spent 9 years on the adoptions team at the San Francisco SPCA, where she lived working the holiday windows at Macy's event and showcasing animals on the local news. Amber started as an adoption associate, became adoptions coordinator, and was then promoted to the adoptions manager of the Pacific Heights SFSPCA. So really cool to have a very San Francisco SPCA call today. And she also currently lives in the California Central Valley with her husband, Chris, and their three cats, Dottie Doomsday, and the Twinkies, Nosy and Tozy, and hospice foster from Muttville, Dolly Rotten, a tiny Chihuahua mouse combination. Everyone join me in welcoming Amber back. As you know, Amber will be joining me throughout the year, so I'm just thrilled to have Amber with me today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited to be hosting this call with my alma mater, right? San Francisco SPCA and my new location in the Central Valley. And just one quick note before we get into the question of the day. Someone called my dog a real life Labubu the other day, and now I can't unsee it. So she's a tiny mouse dog Chihuahua Labubu combination. So
Love it.
love it. All right. So, our question of the day is what makes people more likely to stay in jobs? Thank you for dropping it, Allison. And we actually had started talking about this as people were joining into the call. And one of the first things that popped up was benefits, right? Which I thought was super tangible and very real. But then we also got some more abstract things like getting recognition, having a positive work environment. What else is coming in? A sense of belonging, nice coworkers, management experience, good leadership, right? So some of it is that really inclusive culture. Like some of it is really tangible, right? Like what do you need in order to survive? Benefits and money. And what do you need in order to have your emotional needs met, right? Like positivity, appreciation for a job well done, feeling included and recognized, support from your leadership team. What about you, Sheila? What do you think?
Gosh, I think it definitely is the belonging piece. And I hear that there are different things that are valued throughout generations. And so I'm a millennial, and belonging is something like value and belonging is really something that we care about. What about you?
I think something that is very regionally specific, and I mean, maybe because my experience working as an adult has been in California. So it's like livability. Like, can you stay in a job you love and also live in that community? And I think we see it a lot in professions like teaching and nursing, where people and animal well-being where people aren't making as much but they still that job is very important to them. So like living in San Francisco, I worked at the San Francisco SPCA, and side hustles or like ways to cut costs were really important. So I think, can your job like actually support you where you live?
So important. I agree. Well,
Can I do one more? I just saw Nadia threw in a great one that I do want to highlight before we get on. And I think this will go good with talking about communities too. So Nadia says for BIPOC folks, a lack of microaggressions and not denying our lived experience goes a long way, which I think is related to a sense of belonging and inclusion for sure.
absolutely. It's all intersected for sure. These are amazing. Oh, yeah. We have a comment about microaggressions for ageism as well. Yeah, keep it coming in the chats, folks.
Yes.
Thank you for all these great responses. As you keep it going, we're gonna go ahead and welcome my other colleague, Kelly, to announce October grant giveaway winners.
Hey everyone, I am Kelly Clarity, and I'm the grants manager here at Maddie's Fund, and I am so excited to announce our giveaway winners. So, before I get into it and show the PowerPoint, I just want to remind you that you can enter to win every time you watch a community conversations call, whether it's live, so if you're on the call right now, or if you miss the call, you can watch it on demand. And Irene, thank you. Irene just posted the link to enter to win. So just because you're watching, you're not automatically entered. You actually need to click on the link and fill out the form to enter to win. All right, so let me share my screen here. Our October prize winners. So we've got 4 winners for our community conversations, getting $2,500 each. So we've got Rebecca Bigelow of Lilac City Pup Project, Patricia Berg of the SPCA serving Erie County, Melissa Fitzgerald of Perfect Life Rescue, and Jennifer Vasquez of Rio Grande Valley Humane Services. And I want to say real quick, it looks like Rebecca and Melissa and Jennifer all watched live, but Patricia watched on demand. So just another plug here for watching on demand because you might win. All right, well, congratulations to our winners. And if we have any of the winners on the call and want to come on and say hello real quick, go ahead and unmute.
I can go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Awesome. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm Melissa from Perfect Life Rescue up in Massachusetts. I am a volunteer, and we partner with organizations primarily in the South, and we bring rescue dogs up to the North, and we try to find them their forever homes. Right now, we're primarily partnering with organizations in Texas. We also help local surrenders. And I know we were talking a lot about the weather, and right now it's very cold in Massachusetts, and we are doing a lot of repairs on our facility to try to prepare for that. And one of the things that we really need is to replace some windows. So this came at a really, really wonderful time. Not that there's ever a bad time, but it is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you do.
Hi, I'm Patricia Berg, and I'm one of the other winners for the SPCA serving Erie County, or Erie County SPCA. We're in Buffalo, New York, and we're actually the second oldest humane society in the States. And I'm so excited for this. And it's funny because I usually watch live like this, and that was like the one time I actually had to watch it not live. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much for this. I know everybody here is going to be super excited.
Awesome. Thank you, Patricia.
Hi, I'm Rebecca from Lilac City Pup Project. We're in Spokane, in Eastern Washington, and we are a brand new rescue. We just got our 501c3 in September, our insurance in October. We just pulled our 15th dog, and our goal is to really help locally. We have a big problem here. We really want to help our county animal control with their puppies, specifically because our focus is really on early socialization and training, so that dogs can stay with their owners. And we're just starting, but we are very interested in that intersection between the social safety supports and being able to keep dogs. So we're super interested in collaborating efforts with our shelter vet and our county. So we're super excited. This is our first grant, and thank you so much.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for everything you're doing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Vasquez. I'm with the Rio Grande Valley Humane Society in Harlingen, Texas. So we're at the bottom tip of Texas. And a lot of people, just like a lot of you, we are overrun by strays. The Texas Tribune estimated about 750,000 to 1 million stray cats and dogs roaming our streets. And for a region of 1.4 million people with multiple pets like myself, we only have 89 vets. So with this money, we are going to be helping our community pet parents as well as stray animals to spay and neuter. So in January, we're going to be offering 250 free spay and neuter services to our community, and this will help cover that cost. We do have to bring in a high volume spay and neuter vet from out of the region because our vets are so overwhelmed here with their clinics that we have to bring in somebody who can do it consistently. And Melissa, we have stray animals for you if you want to tag anybody from us, because we do have wonderful pets. We've been around since 1989. We've adapted and grown over the years. That way we can better serve our community and our pet parents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Congratulations. and
Thank you.
all the winners.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you to all the winners. So nice to hear your stories. I
Oh,
got
wait, I thought we had one more winner too. Patricia, did she say something?
yes.
Oh, she did. Okay, sorry. Yeah, congratulations, Patricia.
Thank you all.
Hello, can you hear me
Yes.
up here?
Oh, hi, Paula.
Hi, my name is Paula Vergara. I work with the A Home of Their Own Animal Rescue in Bethesda, Maryland. I'm from Massachusetts originally, so hello to the Massachusetts person there. I'm a grant writer, content creator for them, and we are a foster-based organization where we don't have a physical shelter, so we're just pulling dogs and cats from shelter and high kill shelters to get them into their forever homes. It's a fairly new organization, started in 2024, I believe. So still struggling a little bit to try to ramp up, but taking in, I think at this point, over 100 dogs and cats from all over, including Puerto Rico. So it's been wonderful to be part of that organization.
Awesome. Welcome, Paula, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. And if anyone has any national updates, please share them in the chat now as well. And I know we're also going to share them on the discussion thread, which Allison has dropped in the chat. So please join us there to share some more information. Paula, feel free to join there and share some of the amazing work you do too. But otherwise, off to you, Amber.
Yay! So today we are joined by three incredible speakers from the San Francisco SPCA team, and I am delighted to tell you a little bit more about them before turning it over to them. And we are joined by Kylie Ramos, Melissa Gómez, and Jessica Bogosian. So Kylie is originally from the San Francisco Bay Area and moved to the Central Valley in 2020. She has been working in animal welfare since 2018, spending time in both nonprofit and municipal shelters. Now with the San Francisco SPCA, Kylie focuses on developing programs and partnerships that increase access to care for pets and families in the Central Valley. She is passionate about supporting communities and helping keep pets healthy and at home with the people that love them. Kylie is my neighbor to the south in Madeira with her husband Dom, 3 dogs, Agnes, Harper, and Tally, and 2 cats, Otis and Gunther. So welcome, Kylie. And we've also got Melissa Gómez. Melissa leads the San Francisco SPCA's Community Ambassador and Comet program. A San Francisco native and fluent Spanish speaker, she brings strong community connections and a deep commitment to expanding access to care. In her role, Melissa balances hands-on outreach by providing vaccines, treatments, and essential resources to community members with her leadership responsibilities, including mentoring Comet interns, training community ambassadors, cultivating partnerships with local community-based organizations. Melissa's background is in technology, housing rights, immigrant rights advocacy, and uniquely prepares her to unite a passion for animals with a drive for social impact. At home, Melissa shares her life with her fiance, Nate, her soul dog, Daisy, and 2 cats, Misty and Yoshi. She believes deeply in the power of this work to strengthen bonds between people, pets, and the communities they call home. So welcome, Melissa. And we also have Jessica Bogosian. As director of the community medicine programs at the SFSPCA, Jessica leads innovative efforts to expand access to veterinary care, ensuring that people and their pets can thrive together. She oversees community-focused initiatives, including mobile vaccine clinics, high-volume spay-neuter services, and partnerships that bring essential veterinary resources to communities facing barriers to care. Jessica has dedicated over 20 years to the veterinary field with a career spanning clinical work, veterinary education, and nonprofit work. Before joining the SFSPCA, she played a key role in both local and international outreach efforts, working to improve veterinary access and support sustainable care solutions in resource-limited areas. Jessica shares her home with her partner and her rescue pups, a sassy Chihuahua who keeps her on her toes, as well as 2 rambunctious pointers who ensure there's never a dull moment. She finds joy in traveling, connecting with her close-knit group of lifelong friends, and fostering collaboration within the veterinary community. So please welcome Kylie, Melissa, and Jessica. And we will turn it over to Kylie to get the conversation started. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Amber. Those intros were wonderful. So I don't have to talk too much more about what we're doing and why we're speaking here, but I do want to kind of set the stage of how the three of us work together and why we're here talking about this today. So you already heard a little bit about our roles, but Jess, Melissa, and I actually work together fairly closely, although I'm based in the Central Valley and they're based in San Francisco. We work together a lot on kind of creating these systems of care between our communities in San Francisco and the Central Valley. And with that, we talk a lot about recruiting and retaining our teams, how we bring people in from the community through those systems of care. So that is what we are going to talk about today. I will be facilitating, but also contributing as well. But let's go ahead and get started so we have enough time. I'm going to kick it off with just our first kind of big picture question. What does a community-driven system look like in the context of veterinary care, and how have you seen it influence the culture within our organization? So Jess and Melissa, whoever wants to go first.
I'll take that one. I love how you referenced our system of care. And at San Francisco SPCA, we've kind of built out this network of, we have a full service advanced care hospital, we have accessible spay neuter, we have these mobile clinics and our community clinic. And we've really, over the last couple of years, shifted from these kind of like a tactical system of where to receive these services into building the system within our community, and not just making services where people can access them, but actually constructing that with them. And I kind of envision this as delivering care almost through a circle instead of a ladder. Instead of care coming from top down, care's flowing outward and then also back in. And so I've seen that kind of shift the culture here into people looking for ways to center connection, not only in the care that we're providing out in the community and how we're building those programs, but what that looks like here and how we're kind of supporting each other. I think that using that to kind of partner with existing community resources to support the work that they're already doing, is kind of also extended into the culture here at our organization, tapping into people's strengths and kind of, having this like community feel and kind of building off of what already exists and just making that even stronger. And when I consider, when we're delivering this care, if we focus on kind of what people need and delivering care in that way based on what the community is really needing, then we're using our resources in a much smarter way. And again, I think that kind of has built into our culture here, in a way of we're looking for where can we capitalize on what we're already great at. And I think that I've seen that show up really well in my team, and looking at, different strengths people bring to the table. So it's been really awesome.
Thanks, Jess. So kind of shifting towards the conversation about attracting veterinary professionals into this work, how do we get them to be a part of this system of care that we're building? How can showcasing community impact or outreach help attract new veterinary professionals, especially younger generations who are seeking more purpose-driven work?
I could take this one. I think showcasing community impact is one of the strongest tools we have to attract new veterinary professionals or anyone interested in the animal welfare world. I think especially younger generations who want to work in roles that feel meaningful and connected to them. I think in my experience, I've seen people are drawn to work that aligns with their values and also learning about and from people who look like them. When we highlight stories from Excelsior, Bayview, and San Francisco, and rural communities like Biola and Fresno or early Martin Tulare, we're showing them exactly what that kind of impact looks like and what that impact they can have in this field. And that could be families who keep their pets because we provide accessible vaccines or spay and neuter, community ambassadors or neighborhood ambassadors emerging as leaders in their own communities and being highlighted because of that, barriers being reduced through culturally responsive door-to-door outreach. I think younger professionals or younger individuals want to feel like their work matters beyond a clinic. When they see veterinarians, technicians collaborating with our community ambassadors, meeting people where they're at, and making care accessible for underserved neighborhoods, I think it sends a clear message that if you join this field, you're joining a mission, not just a job. I think this type of environment becomes a natural recruitment tool. I think it positions us or any org that does this as a place where you can practice high quality care and still participate in real equity focused, community centered work. Jess, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
I think you hit it. Yeah. I think it just really like showing the actual work and beyond numbers. We just recently discussed this in our community medicine department meeting. You know, we obviously have our goals we try to reach to help certain numbers of people access care. You know, but when we start talking more deeply into the impact of what that actually means and showcasing that, you know, really taking it back to like a human-centered approach, thinking about each number that we talk about for a spay and neuter is impressive, but it's also a family. And you think about how much that means for that family and the ability for them to know and love having a pet in their life as a part of the work that you did, you know, and the impact that that creates lasting. I think that, you know, people are really seeking to be a part of something and know that they're connecting in that way. And I think it's really, you know, something that, like Melissa said, naturally attracts people that are looking for that kind of thing.
Thank you both. Melissa, I know you touched on community ambassadors and the COMET program, which leads me into this next question. For the both of you, can you share examples of how partnerships with community organizations have created new pipelines for veterinary talent, like into this field?
Yeah, do you want me to? I'll kick it off, just. I think since I mentioned the COMET internship program that we have, I think that's a strong example that comes from our internship program is when we partner with youth community developers, YCD in the Bayview and Hunters Point. Let me see if I remember their mission. I feel like their mission always, let me remember it. Their mission is to break cycles of generational poverty for communities of color by connecting youth and young adults to workforce opportunities through education and housing resources. Hopefully I didn't get that wrong.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I'm like, I've said it for so long and I'm like, I should probably have it down by now. But through this partnership, they help recruit our first round of candidates. They're often people who are interested in veterinary work, but haven't had the access to the resource, education, exposure, or even support to pursue it. Another time, it's simply people looking for a paid role opportunity based off of survival, and that's okay. I think YCD gives us the opportunity to truly diversify our applicant pool. Yes, we always look to hire. I think when we think about diversity, we think about skin color and how we could diversify that way. But I think it's really important to remember lived experience as also a way to diversify your applicant pool. But again, they really help us diversify our applicant pool, but also creates a pathway for, again, local residents in the Bayview Hunters Point area to enter animal welfare and gain hands-on experience and explore other long-term careers in the field. It doesn't have to be pursuing a veterinary career. It can be working in adoptions. It could be working in animal care or even front desk of spay and neuter, which is such an important role. So there's different career paths that we can put them in, and YCD helps us identify people who may roles. But again, one thing to mention is that YCD and manager who runs, which is me, who runs the program, we don't put limits on who can apply, what the age, there's no age limit. There's really no limit to who can apply for the program. So we really want to be able to be as open as we can, just because we really want to consider lived experience when we are considering applicants. I think right now we have 16 graduates, soon to be 18, and 7 of those interns work with us, who have graduated from the program, and 2 others have started vet school this past fall, I believe. Jessica, correct me on that after.
Yeah.
So again, I think that creating these relationships with orgs like YCD can really help an org learn of what diversity really means in the workforce and how can that contribute to a org that has actual lived experiences plus people who are trained for these services and kind of package there. And again, going back to the first question, inspire other people to join this type of workforce. Yeah, I think also with the community ambassadors being present in the community and partnering with the Excelsior Library, we're there every Wednesday of the month. And people have questions about volunteering and how to get into this when they have no other resources to enter this field. So I think just being present with these community-based organizations is always important.
And to piggyback off of that, one of the things that excited me most about starting to work with Melissa on this workforce development aspect is the fact that I feel like so often these programs to develop workforce are so heavily focused on, either becoming an RVT or becoming a veterinarian as like the ultimate end goal. And kind of anything else between is kind of like a consolation prize. We'll help you, but you could do this over here. And I think this program really highlights and the impact of all of these roles and how important they are to like make up the work that we're doing. And I think that showcasing that and helping people see there's ways to contribute to this wonderful work we do in all different capacities that are all just as important, kind of depending on what fits your particular skill set. I think it's just like a really beautiful kind of aspect of this, the program, and that lived experience, extending beyond just what we can see in terms of someone's diversity, looking at like their background, their lived experience, their class level that they're coming from, like all of these things are points of relation for our community and representation that's super important. And when I have kind of a unique vantage point from our organization, when I first joined the San Francisco SPCA, I came on as a veterinarian recruiter, kind of in with like a targeted mission to hire 7 veterinarians in 6 months. And it was a mission, I'll say, but we did it. But what I found is what was really important that I went into my recruiting kind of lens with was finding people who had a connection to community in some way or form, and not just I want to give back or I like helping people that need it, but who is already committed and connected to being a part of a community, who has that, whether it's a faith-based group or a sports team or a school club, like somebody who understands the importance of connecting in that way. And what I found is we actually started attracting people who either were from our community, veterinarians, RVTs, support staff, and wanted a way to use this as another means to connect to their community. People maybe who came from communities similar to that here in San Francisco, but weren't from here, who also saw the work we were doing. And I feel like, especially veterinarian recruiting seems to be the hot topic. We always want to talk about it. Where do you find the vets? And it's like you create the environment to call the people who are called to the mission that you're leading, and you lead with that. And for us, that's connecting with the community, being a part of the community, and contributing something that's greater than ourselves. And I think we've found that to be quite successful here with attracting talent and retaining.
Thank you both. I was going to add stuff, but you guys covered it. Actually, I mean, one thing that I can add, and Jess, you mentioned like looking for people that are connected community. In the community ambassador program that Melissa and I kind of co-manage and hire together for, we've found success in looking for people that have the passion, that are connected to community, that have the drive, and then teaching them the skills because they have the passion to help their community. They want to learn to do these things. So, whether it's a doctor or an RVT or someone just entering the field, like there are certain things that we look for. And I think community connection and that passion and being connected to the mission just helps make them all the more successful in their role. All right, switching gears a little bit to retention. In what ways do community-driven initiatives improve morale, job satisfaction, or reduce burnout among veterinary staff? And I'm actually going to start with this one, and then I'll let you guys chime in. This one is fun for me to answer because I manage a group of on-call veterinary staff in the Central Valley that I have hired over the course of 2 years that come from a variety of backgrounds. And they have taught me a lot about what veterinary professionals are looking for in this field, what makes them want to stay and what makes them feel fulfilled in their job. So a lot of them are coming from emergency or general practice. They're in a lot of situations where they're not able to help every patient. They have to say no a lot. They're just put in really difficult situations. But giving them the opportunity to do more community outreach, like provide free vaccines and big spay neuter days, like these kinds of experiences with really positive outcomes has helped them feel connected to the mission, kind of reduce their burnout, allow them to kind of keep doing this work. So connection to mission is definitely a big one. Like they're able to engage with the community directly. It's a reminder of why they got into this field to begin with. And they can actually see the impact that they're making in the community. So it's not just like, oh, I helped this one animal and I'll, might never see it again. It's like I'm actively seeing the change that we're making in the community. And with that comes shared experiences and shared pride in the work that they're doing. They're having these experiences together. Our giant vaccine clinics we put on are sometimes stressful, and they're working together and they're problem solving together and they're serving hundreds of animals together. And I've seen that help our team bond, and they just work so well together because we've been through these different things. And then another one is the positive client interactions. Like I mentioned before, these are really kind of positive outcome services, spay neuter, vaccine clinics. The community shares their appreciation with them. So it's kind of a moment for them to reflect on the work that they're doing and actually feel appreciated, and just kind of like bask in that positivity for a while to help counteract some of the less positive interactions that they might have at other points in their work. And then the last thing I'll touch on is just the ability for skill diversification and empowerment. So in a lot of these kind of outreach clinics that we do, big vaccine clinics, spay neuter, staff are given more opportunities to provide skills to lead. Maybe they're leading a treatment table for their team. During spay neuter, maybe we're teaching them how to do a new skill. So they're coming out of this with an additional skill set, and also really focusing on like having volunteers take care of everything that they possibly can, like recovery, everything that they are trained to do, and opening up our vet assistants to focus on their work, which opens our RVTs up to focus on their work, which opens our DVMs to focus on their work. So just ensuring that like each level is like fully capable and able to perform the tasks that they're trained to do, helps a lot in not placing a ton of more work on our RVTs or a ton of work on our DVMs that they don't technically have to be doing. So again, that skill diversification and empowerment is really important, that I've seen in retaining our clinical staff. Melissa and Jess, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you hit everything that I was thinking about. I think emphasizing also like the skill diversification I think that's really important to allow someone to lead and be a leader and them feeling fulfilled by that. I know it's such an important skill that may or may not take that maybe out of their hands to do. I think just even empowering them to be a leader is important. So, but I think I just want to emphasize that part because that's, in my personal experience, what I see people really appreciate.
So, how do we feel that leaders can embed community-centered values into daily operations without overextending staff or compromising sustainability? Do we have any examples to share of that?
This is a really good one because I mean, I know that we're all in this because we care so much about the work that we do, and it's easy to keep that burner turned up and just help that one more pet, help that one more family, and work that one more extra hour. And when we talk about sustainability, I've been bringing into conversations a lot lately, thinking of our time and energy and expertise in a similar parallel to the resources, say, that our donors give us. And if we are just blasting through our resources and our dollars and not being mindful of how we can make that last and make that be sustainable and continue the work that we're doing, we're going to burn ourselves out and then we're not able to help the people that we're trying to work with. So, when I think of community-centered values, that begins with the staff as a part of the community that we're caring for. Building these systems together that are grounded in, empathy, care, and respect, all the same things that we're framing in terms of how we're connecting with our communities outside of our building that we're trying to serve. That starts in our office as well. Caring for people that are carrying the work. We try and model with curiosity, humility, shared decision making, going back to, talking about that system of care that's co-created with our community. Again, internally co-creating that system with the people who are carrying the work, guiding and directing them and having them be a part of constructing that, is a really important part to have that ownership and that commitment to it that can help you feel like really connected. I also, this is a little bit of a hot take, but, like nonprofit industrial complex is real. We need to be mindful of that and like think of the individuals working on our teams beyond just mechanisms of delivery. It can very quickly turn into like, that just one more hour, let's keep going, just push yourselves a little more. We've got to meet our numbers or we've got to help these people. Recognizing that as leaders, it's our absolute job to like understand and help with boundaries, and set limits on what our people are asked to do, so that they can keep coming back, they can stay in the work that we're doing. And, when we look at the big crisis we're facing with the veterinarian shortage, a lot of that is also because people have left the field, at a pretty alarming rate. And I know many of my friends in cohort that I worked alongside as RVTs, barely any of them are still in the field. And I think it's really important, for that skills passing down and knowledge passing down and passion to be passed down. Like we have to retain people in this field so we don't have this giant gap of people leaving and then there's a new batch of people trying to figure it out. So, bringing that into daily operations and like centering that in everything that we do, thinking about the impact on the community over intent, including the community within my teams. I think that, keeping that vision, keeping that focus with anything that you're setting up in your operations can really kind of become a North Star for you to kind of guide and direct you.
Thank you, Jess. Well, to wrap up, looking ahead, what does the future of community-centered veterinary care look like, and what advice would we give to organizations just beginning this journey?
I can start. I think the future community-centered veterinary care is rooted in accessibility, but not only in services, but career opportunities and pathways, rooted in trust, and meeting people where they are, whether that's someone looking for a career or someone looking for services. I think we're moving almost beyond the traditional clinic model and bringing care directly into neighborhoods through outreach, local partnerships with community-based organizations, and also culturally responsive communication. I think I've seen the strongest programs hire for lived experience, not just credentials. I think that's one of the most hot topics we talked about today. Personally, our most effective ambassadors come from the communities we serve. They understand the culture, the language, the realities families face, which builds trust in a way no training alone can. I think we also have to shift the mindset in animal welfare. I think it's not about rescuing animals from people. It's about recognizing that many families love their pets deeply, but are navigating systems that have failed them. I think our role is to support both the human and the animal together. I think it also depends on real collaboration, veterinarians working alongside, again, community-based organizations to create a true people and pets model of care. In terms of workforce pathways programs are essential, even by training local residents or people that live in a neighborhood, giving them hands-on experience. We're opening doors to possible veterinary careers or animal welfare careers while still strengthening the workforce. In terms of advice, I think just start with listening, not assumptions. Spending time understanding the community needs, barriers, languages, and rhythms. I think your strategy should reflect the reality of the community and not your assumptions.
Yeah. I think my advice would be partnerships. Organizations that are centered in communities, community-based organizations, they live and breathe that community every single day. And they're there already, and these communities already have existing systems of care and networks for mutual aid that have been there longstanding, well before we started this work. And I think seeing how we can tap in with them to partner and elevate what they're doing is the jumping off point. And I think if you're just getting started trying to center community-based care, start with someone in your neighborhood that's already doing this, a rec center, a youth center, a health center, anything that's there. I bet you they're already, tapped into what's going on. And we've started doing that this last year with our mobile vaccine clinics that we've been doing. And we used to roll in and do these huge clinics and people come through. And it was great. We were serving a lot of people, but we felt like that connection wasn't there. And we've shifted and started working with some smaller groups that are really centered in the heart of these communities we're trying to serve. And, they already have an existing network of trust and understanding. And so not only does that allow us to embed in a deeper way, but then when we're not there for those hours of those clinics, that community organization is able to help people get to our resources on an ongoing basis because they have a relationship with us. We're partnering there, and it becomes much more sustainable when you think about, sending my team out to try to flyer everything for this clinic and sending my team to do XYZ versus we can do this together and it's built into the work that the organization may already be doing with community events, et cetera. And so I think it's a way to create, sustainable use of your resources, delivering on what communities actually need, like Melissa said, versus assumptions, and even just strengthening those partnerships so we can all come in this together.
Adding on just a little bit to what you were saying, Jess, I think organization also like understanding that you don't have to provide all of the things that your community needs. Again, like partnering with other organizations, learning what your organization can do well, what you can provide, and then working together with other like animal welfare organizations or human service organizations to create that full system of care, but like to not feel like you have to provide everything because like you guys both mentioned, there's people out there already doing a lot of this work. So just to not make it feel so overwhelming. I think we'll probably move into some questions if we have time. I think we have a couple. So from Jennifer, what about utilizing the senior population for volunteering, etc., some retired in early age and could be useful in many areas. How would you, if you would attract a diverse group like that?
I love that question. Thank you, Jennifer. We have such a diverse volunteer group here, and we have opportunities beyond just like animal care. We have a lot of volunteers that come and help us do mail sorting, come and help us do, printing, or collaborate on systems building. Maybe you have like retired, business people who want to contribute in some way, and I think it kind of takes it back to the very first couple of points we were making and rethinking, reimagining what the workforce could look like. And so I think looking at that as outside of the typical kind of roles that we have, thinking more of in a community, how can everybody contribute by the means that they have. And so I think that that's an excellent way to attract and kind of promote contributions for people who maybe aren't still in the workforce or aren't contributing in maybe a physical way. I love that. I don't know if either Melissa or Kylie have anything to add to that, but I think that's something that I feel like we do well here.
I agree. Yeah, even we're starting to build that out in the Central Valley as well. This diverse group of volunteers, quite a few retired folks that love to come out to our vaccine clinic. They'll help us prep vaccines. So we're starting to build that out in our Central Valley programs as well, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, everything Jess and Kylie said, I think also for the community ambassador program, we also look to our senior population living in these neighborhoods, especially if they've lived there for so long. Those are the people we want to tap into and talk to them, because a lot of times, the senior population know what's going on in the hood. They know where to go. They know who to talk to. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think using even like getting to know the senior population is super important to us. Whether that's in a volunteer role or just like a touch point for us to talk to every time we're doing outreach, and also letting them know the resources we're offering so they can let the neighborhood know, because I think that sometimes we forget about our senior population, and they're so important, and they're so important in our longstanding neighborhoods, especially. So yeah, I mean, that's a great question, but I appreciate that question a lot.
Do we have time for one more question? Okay. So from Laura, she says, I've noticed at the Houston SPCA that they seem to have a high turnover of care staff. I have no idea why, as I'm a support volunteer, as a partnership from our rescue in a specific area, maybe pay, maybe too much to do. Most staff have 2 areas they're responsible for. I know they were also short on vets since they also do rabbits. That's another skill set. Do you have specialized vets like this?
While we see from focus our care on dogs and cats, we do have kind of more specialized areas of focus for them to practice in, like we have separate shifts for like spay neuter, hospital, our shelter medicine team, things like that. And so I think to try to answer the question about the high turnover, I think I would take it back to kind of what I was mentioning about starting with the community who is carrying the work within our 4 walls. And it can lead to burnout really quickly. And many of us are operating on limited resources and trying to do so much and taking care of multiple areas and multiple animals. And I think like trying to focus on what we can do and do that really well in a sustainable way, and focus on what is needed, and start there, I think could be a way to really help. But I think all of us have a propensity to kind of burn ourselves out because we care so deeply about this work, and it's easy to do. And that is not a challenge that's isolated to Houston SPCA. I think it's, pretty endemic with all of our organizations.
I was going to add just one thing that in pretty much every shelter that I've worked at as well, I've noticed that frontline staff tend to have high turnover. And we think about they're the ones that are dealing with clients more. They are hands-on with animals. They are seeing the highs and lowest lows of everything that those animals are going through and talking to people that are dealing with really difficult situations. So it's a very difficult position to be in. So if we're not supporting those staff members and the way they need to be supported or giving them, the things that they need, a lot of times they're going to leave. It's a really hard job. So it's like Jess said, it's not something that's just isolated to Houston. And it's probably not like a helpful thing to hear, but it's not just one place. It's happening all over the country. So it's something that I think a lot of us would like to focus on, figure out how we can support those staff better.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kylie, Melissa, and Jessica, for this discussion and sharing all of your great experiences and information. Can we all have one more round of applause for our presenters today and give them some love in the chat? They will be available on Maddie's Pet Forum. Yay! All the hearts coming in. They will be available on Maddie's Pet Forum throughout the week to continue this discussion. So I see we didn't get to all of your questions today. So please feel free to post more questions there. Allison's going to drop the link in the chat. And let's continue this conversation on Maddie's Pet Forum with one more reflection question. What would our field look like if community members weren't recipients of care, but architects of the system itself? So thinking back to what Jessica said in the beginning about a circle rather than a ladder. So what would it look like if the folks with that lived experience were also helping us build this new system? Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Sheila, take us home.
Thank you. This was amazing. I so appreciate the lenses you all share with us today and the way you're looking at such an important issue. But yes, please join us on Maddie's Pet Forum to ask any additional questions. We'll get to any unanswered questions there as well, and then answer the reflection question if you feel called to. And thank you so much to our amazing speakers. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. And thank you to the wonderful Amber Evie to joining me again today. I'm so excited to host with you again sometime in the future. Everyone, please note that next week's call is canceled in observance of Thanksgiving. We hope you have a lovely holiday, and please be welcome to join us back on December 2nd for a conversation with Loving Paws on accessible pet grooming services. And as always, if you're interested in hosting or you know anyone who is interested, or if you have speakers or topics you'd like to learn about, please join us on Maddie's Pet Forum to share that as well. But thank you all for a wonderful community conversation today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.